And cool. So on yours, we ran 2 different ads, but it was the same ad. We just ran it 2 different ways. So the first one, we just put a post on your business page and hit boost, right? We did a little bit of targeting. I didn't get too specific there. I think I did age range, maybe some areas like zip codes you gave me, stuff like that. And then we boosted it up for $100, okay? So on that particular ad, looking at it from, just the ad manager side, everything looks pretty good. We had, we reached almost 10,500 people. We had, 622 clicks on the ad itself, and which gave us, a 5.126% click-through rate. Anything, between 1 and 2% is a decent click-through rate. Obviously, we can get higher. I've had them as high as 13 to 25%. But if they get below 1%, then it's probably time to, if it's around 1% or less, it's time to kill the ad, right? But these always stayed above, 3%, which was pretty good. So here's how it kind of breaks down. So basically, our cost per click on this ad that we boosted was around 20 cents. Okay. So it was costing us 20 cents every time we got someone to engage in the ad, whether it be click on it, look at the photo or whatever it is, like your page, something like that. From there, we had, let's see here, I took notes on this one. From there, we had about a 3% click-through rate, which means we had 19 people click on the actual link that we put in there, that bit.ly link to go to the Woofu document. We had 19 people from paid traffic. This isn't through organic, through paid, click on it. So it was about a 3% click-through rate. From there, we had about another 3% conversion overall for people who actually filled out the form. Okay, so not the worst. All that really matters is what's your cost per lead, and the cost per lead on this one was about $25. Okay, per lead. So we have to get that down because a lot of the ads that I'm running now are about $1 per lead. Okay, so that's where I noticed like we're a little ways off. So we know that we were getting a 5% click-through rate on the ad, which is pretty good. Then it drops down to about 3% on the the amount of people that actually click the link. Right, so what we know is that the ad itself, which means my copy on this one, probably wasn't appealing to your market. Okay, this was an ad that converts really well in my market, but it doesn't mean the people in your market respond the exact same way to the exact same wording. So what it tells me is this ad itself, the pictures that you took and put on there were great. That was getting us a good click-through rate and a good response. What didn't get us the best response was the ad itself, the copy, and getting people to click through. Hi, baby. My daughter just stopped by the office.
So what I'm looking at it now, this is being link clicks and photo views. Link clicks the actual link to the actual application, and then photo views the actual click of the photo. See the difference?
One second here. Let me actually go back to your. Let me go to the business.
So they're saying that the pictures are great, but the copy wasn't that viewing.
Yeah, I think the copy itself just wasn't getting it because we had a good click-through rate on the ad. So the photo itself was getting people to click on it. They're thinking, oh, what is this? But the copy itself, and we may need to change it up, right? Because the luxury market may not respond to, hey, here's a list of foreclosures. Hey, here's a list of luxury deals, right? Then maybe that's not what they're looking for. So on this one, what I would do when you ask the question, what do you mean by testing? What I would do is I know that, hey, this ad itself was getting a pretty good click-through rate for people actually clicking on the ad itself. What we didn't get a good click-through rate on was people actually clicking on the link. Now, that wouldn't trouble me so much if the people that we had coming through turned into paying clients. I mean, if one of those people turned into someone who bought a house on a $150 ad spend, your return on the investment would be huge. However, to give ourselves the best opportunity, we need to get that click-through rate up on who's clicking on the link. We need to get that up, all right? So what I would do to test this is I would run a very similar ad. I would probably just remove this one from the page. I'd run a very similar ad, keeping links and stuff the same, but I would just change up the copy a little bit and see if I couldn't get a better response. Maybe I need to shorten it up. Maybe I need a different headline. All of those things that I would change and test, right? I would run another probably $50 and test out this ad and see if I change the headline and shorten up the copy a little bit. Would that make a difference?
Instead of doing like foreclosures or reels, what else is like a value exchange? Do you make suggestions?
Well, I mean that the foreclosure one tends to get people to respond because everyone thinks they want a foreclosure. All they really want is a good deal. So I've always found that adding the foreclosure stuff in there, or just running a strict ad just on foreclosures, right? We could run an ad just offering the foreclosure list, and a lot of times you get a better click-through rate on that. So we could run this exact same picture, even though this isn't a foreclosure, we could run a picture with this. We're not saying it's a foreclosure. We're just saying here's some pictures of properties, and here's a link to get a list of foreclosures. Plus, we'll just go ahead and throw in these properties the same way we already are, but we may just not mention that in the ad. So it's just a matter of retesting the copy. And then if our click-through rate goes up on the link, right, but then on the actual filling out the form, if that stays around 3%, well, then I may need to, we may need to create a different landing page, right? Something that's getting people to actually give us their information. Because we had 23 people click through on the ad. If 23 people had filled out the ad, or even 17 people would have filled it out, our conversion rate's a lot higher. So maybe I'm not so concerned with, the landing page as much as I am going back to the copy and saying, well, let's see if we can't, instead of 23, let's see if we can't get, 100 people to click through, like on my ads, So that's where we would go back and we would just keep retesting. On the one that we actually paid, $50 and did on the back end for targeting, this one converted about the same, as far as percentage, it was about 3.8% click through on the ad itself. It was about 2.5 to 3% click through on the link. But again, overall, we're only getting 3% of people to click through on, and fill out the information. So on this one, I think we would just have to go back and retest and write up some different copy. But the main thing was I wanted to launch this so we would have something to look at, something tangible, where we could say that it had results, right? So anything that we do, we can track it. Facebook has a really good ad manager, so we can track results. This allows us to test, retest, and re-implement a different strategy to see if we can't get the results up. Then we take those results and we pair them against the results we got, and did we get better results or did we get worse, or is it kind of the same? It's the only way in marketing to figure out how to get things better is to retest. And on this one, that looks like all we need to do. Like I said, the photos themselves look great. The click-through percentage rate on the ad itself was not bad. It's just the place where we're missing is the link click-through and the actual filling out of the application. So that just takes us back and we have to retest. So we know we've got one part of it right. Now we just have to go back and possibly retarget a different audience. That could be part of it. So all of it sounds a little tedious, but once you find one that works, what I do is about every 30 days, I'll rerun the same ad. For the most part, I usually change up the pictures and stuff like that. But once the copy and I'm getting good results on everything else, then it's just a matter of keep providing good photos with different photos with the same exact target audience, click copy and all of that. So on this, it's just like I said, it's just gonna be a matter of us going back and retesting, targeting a different audience for whatever reason. And I'm gonna see if I can't go in here and test and see if Facebook has changed this, because their ad manager changes all the damn time. Before they were allowing me to target people of certain income, and then the other day it wasn't allowing me to do that, and I'm not sure why. But let me see if that has changed. So if I go in here and I want to retest an ad, let's see here. Let's just type in 90210. So that tells us we've got 92,000 people in Los Angeles with between the ages of 18 and 65, but I'll just say 27 because people out there. So there's 66,000 people between 90210 zip code on Facebook between the ages of 27 and 65. If I go down here and let's look at income and see if, I don't know why the hell. Okay, so if I type in, let me go back down here and type in this. So if I look at people who have an income of, let me take out 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So if we're looking at people who make over $100,000, it was not letting me do this the other day. So this actually would have been probably more effective on the ad. People right now in Beverly Hills, 90210, between the ages of 27 and 65, who make at least $100,000. And then if we wanted to go in and say homeownership, people who are currently homeowners, there's 6,000 people who are homeowners between those ages who make over $100,000. So this allows me to get very specific, which the other day when I ran this ad, it just for whatever reason, Facebook, when they make changes, it just like the data wasn't coming up. So I wasn't able to be as specific on my targeting. So I may have to go back and just rerun the same ad and just change up my targeting a little bit. That may have something to do with it, which is probably where I would start, is going back into the targeting aspect and seeing if I can get more specific on my targeting. Because I was running ads to like 100,000 people, which was not what I want to do. If I can run ads to 6,000 people, this is a very targeted audience. we're going to be able to put this in front of people who actually have money. Because before, if I can't target people with income, you could have had people filling out the ads that were only making $75,000. They can't afford a $2 million home, and probably aren't the buyers that you're looking for. So I could probably rerun the ad with a different target and get a different result. If I reran with a different target and got the same results, well, then I know for sure it's my copy. So then I have to go back, change my headline, change up the copy a little bit, and test it from there. Once I run one ad and I get some results, I'll usually go back, I won't spend as much money retesting, but I'll go back, instead of spending like $150, I'll start spending $50 for a couple of days and see what type of results we're getting from that. So all of this stuff on here is just, like I said, these are just a matter of putting stuff out there, testing, retesting until you find one that really works. Then you can kill everything else and start putting your money down on an ad. And I would run it about every 30 days because just like any type of advertising, especially on this type, the ad itself will begin to exhaust itself. So if you run it for, a week, you don't want to rerun the same ad the next week to the same audience because your response rate will just start to drop like crazy. But if you run the same ad 30 days later after people have already forgotten about it with a different photo and everything and a little bit different text maybe, you'll tend to get a lot of results maybe from different people who didn't respond to the previous ad but now are responding to this one.
In my case here, my inventory isn't that large, so if I do a brand new paid ad, I want to promote properties. I just do random listings and then give credit at the bottom to pages.
You could do that, or you could just take different, like instead of using some exterior, use more interior photos of the listings that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to necessarily. I know a lot of people, that's the challenge, right? Is they don't have a big inventory, so they're not able to run ads that, I've got 30 listings, so it's easy for me to just pick different ones each week. And if we get new ones, it's easy to add new ones to it and, get it maybe a different response with different properties. But for you, I would just send different pictures of the inside instead of the outside, or just use one listing and, take 4 photos of like 3 of the inside, 1 of the outside type of thing. And you can run it, an ad that way as well. So that's kind of the ins and outs of the ad that we just ran, and we'll do some retesting on this. I just wanted to go over the results today before we did that. And then I'll rerun this thing a little bit and see what type of results we can get, in a little bit different manner, maybe with switching some things up and see what we get, come up with on that. Let me shut that down here.